Hold that thought for me. Hold that thought for me.
Exactly.
I have to go to break. We've been asking friends on our Facebook page if they think beauty pageants are demeaning. Mark says, do you notice that all the women are educated? Look at Lisa Hanna and Cindy Breakspear. Do they seem to have been degraded? Not to me. Young British says to some women, but I guess they all realize the negative impact it has on some females, so they came up with beauty with a purpose. That's Miss World, I think, specifically. Opal says, yes, it's an outdated, archaic human cattle show. We didn't like it during slavery. We shouldn't be glorifying it now. Delanda says, not at all. What's beauty without anyone seeing it? Besides, pageants don't only show off the female's physique, also intellect. Let's go to the break now. We'll take some more of your comments after that. Remember, calls in the final segment. Soon come. Thank you so much for staying with us. All Angles continues. Talking about beauty pageants, this in the wake of Yendi Phillips coming second in Miss Universe earlier this week. We've been asking our friends on Facebook what they think about beauty pageants, if they think they're demeaning to women. Shermian says, well, in a sense, because those pageants define women. If you're not looking the way they want you to, then you're considered not to be meeting the required standard. So it's not just demeaning women, but it's belittling women who are not considered to be pageant worthy. Claudine says, not with a new approach of assessing intelligence and talent. Before, though, it was glorifying beauty and encouraging dumbness. Tanya says, grooming self-confidence, etiquette and discipline, yeah, all bad. Should be mandatory, she says. And more comments as we continue our program. Remember, our username on Facebook is All Angles. Check on, read the comments there, and leave some of your own. Well, let's start off with that issue now. Is it demeaning to women? Let me ask you, Carolyn.
Absolutely not.
Entered what? More than you actually entered Miss World,
yes,
as well as Miss Universe?
Yes, I did. I entered Miss Jamaica World when I was 20, when I was at University of West Indies, and I was the first runner-up. And so I decided to give it another try the following year, and I was second runner-up. And just last year, at the age of 25, I said, you know what, let me give it one last shot. You know, it had always been a dream of mine to enter. And it's not just about winning the crown, it's really representing Jamaica. Growing up as a young girl, I always watched Miss Universe and Miss World, and I said, you know, I want to be there. I want to be that girl who represents Jamaica. And I did it, and I won, and here I am. I don't think it's demeaning at all, because most of the winners have been well-educated. I mean, you have girls who are doctors, who are lawyers. You know, I have a degree in business as well as interior design. There's no way that we're not dumb. Yendi has her master's, you know, her master's degree. So it's really a choice. You know, you can enter if you want to. You don't have to enter. So if you and you know what the criteria is going into it, but you just have to have a strong mind and to know that, you know, people will criticize, and the judges will want you to look a certain way, and you have to work hard at it. You know, it's a lot of work. Just like Usain Bolt has to work out hard to win the race, you have to.
We're not getting away from the boat.
We have to. I'm comparing. Okay, can be compared.
People say though. People say it's a cattle show. You're walking up and down on the
but
stage,
you know
people judging you, say, boy, or leg them too
and that's
thick,
fine. You go into it knowing that you're going to be judged, right? It's a way, I mean, you have to walk in a swimsuit because they have to judge the fitness of your body. They have to say, okay, you know.
Is it fitness they're judging, though?
They are judging
no,
fitness.
really.
Yeah, they are.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to what?
As opposed to your if you look sexy, if you that kind of terminology. It's not just about
right, but
fitness.
that's okay because you go into the pageant knowing that
because they could have tested fitness otherwise.
But sexy is
no,
great.
sexy is good. No, I mean,
you sound like you were backing away a little from the sexy argument.
No, sexy is good. I mean, I don't think the judges, I don't think we have a panel of judges who are just drooling over the girls, and they're not, I mean, the different...
Well, let me ask Mr. James as the actual judge on the panel.
No, I think the girls, it's a professional exercise when you're doing judging. In fact, the girls have to really prepare themselves. And once you have the criteria of what you're looking for, it is just like a doctor dealing with a patient. Right. And I think it's not demeaning because it is always said that a mind expanded by an idea can never revert to its original dimension, and I find most of the girls who have entered have been able to go on to higher levels of achievement. We have a number of persons who have really got their PhDs and so on, and as soon as they've received the type of training, the grooming, the modeling, the sort of exercise process that they have to go through to reach certain levels. I mean, Dion, it's remarkable to see the transformation that occurs when these girls come in, you know, for the elimination,
right,
and they're selected, and to see what they become on coronation night. As a judge, you know, you really feel very proud that the women have been able to acclimatize themselves to getting in a sort of mode that really puts them on an upward trend.
If I might move away from the sexy question.
One thing though on that point, you know, people are entitled to their opinions, and everybody will have people have differing views. So some people might think it's demeaning, some people might think it's uplifting, etc., etc., etc. But what I can say is that you're talking about the modern woman,
right,
who is interested in furthering her own career and using these beauty pageants as a platform to go on to bigger and better things.
Right.
Think about Yendi in front of that world stage and that huge audience. Somebody in that audience, some important influential person is going to say, you know, that girl would make a great movie star, or she'd make a great whatever. And there comes an opportunity by virtue of that level of exposure and that level of performance to now move into another career which could put her on top of the world stage, not just for one night, as happened in the Miss Universe pageant, but for life. And so, and it could increase her earning power several times. So it's not to be taken as just a cattle show or demeaning or whatever you want to call it. Put it this way, the smart women today, and it includes persons with doctorates and so on, are seeing it as an opportunity for them to push their careers forward.
Before you were talking about professional development and Mr. James about personal development, though, you said it straight out. You said, what's wrong with sexy? What's wrong with being sexy?
Absolutely nothing. And the truth of the matter is that persons looking on contestants in beauty pageants will have differing views. There'll be women looking on who will be admiring the girls, thinking that they look great. People will be looking on thinking that she's beautiful. People looking on and thinking that she's smart. People looking on thinking that she's sexy. And sometimes a combination of all of those things.
And you're saying there's nothing wrong with
Absolutely
that?
not.
I wanted to make a point that maybe over 20 years ago, well over 20 years ago, when it was called, and publicly called, the cattle market. Since then,
that was a mistake.
and in fact, one former prime minister made it very, very clear, and so on. But since then, there are changes. The talent segment has been added, and I think there's an intelligence.
Beauty with a purpose.
Yeah,
there's also sport.
There are changes, and I must say that a person like myself would welcome those changes.
But having said that, you have a problem with some of the segments, right? You're not into the swimsuit thing. You think there's something wrong with
judging what is called best legs and sorry.
Best legs, best smile.
Yes,
They don't have that anymore. No best legs anymore.
No, none of those anymore.
Right? It, as I said,
beach beauty.
Yeah, beach beauty.
Yeah, and as I said, like your interpretation, it's for your toning and your fitness and so on.
Right.
A lot of us believe that it's about you know, sexuality and sexiness as it is. Asking to say there's nothing wrong with that, and I suppose in one context I can understand, but there are some of us who wouldn't want to see our ladies, our queens, being judged on the basis of how sexy.
Oh, but when you talk of best legs, when best legs was in terms of judging for that, what you look at is the fitness of the person, you know, the fitness, and the girls really go through a serious process to get themselves toned and to look really fit. So
you enjoy that fitness.
It's always good to see people taking good care of themselves.
It's about health.
Yeah,
in a sense.
You know, but the question I asked Ms. Yap is, when she did not win, did she think she's less beautiful than the girl who won?
Absolutely not.
And if it's a beauty contest that says who is the most beautiful, it means that the judges think you were not. And you're not going to have to go through a process now to tell yourself that I'm more beautiful.
But you don't have to be the most beautiful. You benefit.
It's a lot of
these competitions.
But you come 16th or you come 15th.
Don't matter.
Don't
matter. Everybody wants to win.
Right.
But the fact is that process is one that brings a lot of benefit. There's a lot of developmental benefit to the individuals involved, as well as commercial opportunities through sponsorships and opportunities to go into modeling, to represent brands, etc., etc., etc. So the point is, only one person can win. You can easily convince yourself that you were better than the one who won, and it's because of some judge.
And that perception of beauty has to do with anything cultural, has to do with your own experience culturally and so on.
Come again, I didn't hear
You don't think that the judgment of beauty has anything to do with your
It's
own...
extremely subjective.
It is extremely, and that's another major issue.
Are you asking him if the brown girls get precedence? Because that's what that question